Good morning. It's July 7th and getting our monthly update out to you. And thank you for those of y'all that watch it. I hope everybody had a good July 4th. As many of you might know, we started doing these over a year ago when the lockdown started, and it felt important to be sure to get out accurate information on what was going on and communicate to our clients and people that wanted to know. Here we are almost a year and a half later, and market updates, video updates, and our from realtors are much more a commonplace, and often with greater video production than we have. So that's good. That means more people are getting information out as they should, and that is our job to do. However, we're going to do it from our desk for now. Maybe when we get a little slower in the industry, I can get a video editor to increase the production value. But right now, we're just trying to get this information out to you and get back to work. And really, what matters is the information. In fact, I come in early to try to get this done so I don't hear phones ringing and other realtors talking. So let's take a look at year to date and the last 30 days compared to the last 3 years. And the most important year to me to look at is 2019, before COVID, because there's some myths in our market right now. And I think the numbers will demonstrate that to you. So this right here is Clark and Oconee County, Athens, Clark, Oconee, just looking at those two. And what we've got is 2020 in the middle. We're keeping that as relevant, but we got to really not look at it because things were so different then. What we want to focus on is compare 2019 to 2021. And everybody talks about how crazy real estate is right now, and in some regards, they're true. Um, but there's also some things people think that are not true, and these numbers are proving it. So what you're going to see as a trend here is some normalization. And if we look at the new listings year to date, we had 1,518 in 2019, 1,500 in 2021, eerily similar. Under contract units year to date, 936 in 2019 to 909. So again, and not much of a difference there, maybe just a little below 30. List price is obviously much higher and sold price is much higher. And that's really where the big significant numbers are. It's price values have gone up so much. And if you look at the total homes sold in 2019, we're actually ahead of that. And people tell you there's nothing to buy, but then we're selling more homes now than we did 2 years ago in a normal market where there was supposed to be a normal amount of inventory. So what's going on? Well, let's take a look at the month of June. Now, in the month of June in 2019, we had 231 listings come to market and 290 this June. So we've got a lot more coming to market than we did 2 years ago. Under contract is also up 167 units. Now, you see, we were making a comeback in 2020, so that's why it's up at 175, if you remember the first part of that V. And then if let's go to list price, sold price, this is where the story really is. And I hate to chuckle because what I'm seeing, sometimes I can't believe it. In 2019, our average list price was 300. Now it's up 50 grand. I mean, we're talking a 15% jump and a 17% jump on sold price. So 294 was your average sold price in 2019. Boom, 353. That's about a 17% or so equity gain. And that's become the norm to expect. But I want you to understand, stop expecting it because that's going to cool off. You are not going to make 100 grand forever on a property so quickly. And it's happened really fast, but I want people to understand that it is cooling off. It's not getting bad. It's just hopefully returning to some level of normal, which is what we need it to do because normal market is really a healthy market. Let's look at the total homes sold in June too. 246 in 2019, 249 in 2021, almost spot on. So very similar to 2 years ago before COVID happened. And these graphs are probably my favorite part of it because they tell the most. Look here, we're looking at the residential listings that have come to market. Only focus on this blue line. As you can see, it had a steady increase above 200, almost to 300 in May. Spring market, big fall off in June, big fall off. That's what happened in 2019. We usually start to see some things cool off as we get out of the spring market. Now let's look at what happened here in these listings in 2021. Remember February? Remember all the craziness? There was nothing on the market, bids, bids, bids. Well, that's continued, but look at these listings. These listings went all the way up to over 300 in April, and then they came down and were a little bit below May. But now the difference between listings to market in 2019 and right now, that's where a big gap is. We're way ahead of 2019. And that's where we're going to hopefully get some normalization. That's what I think a lot of people would hope to see. because even as a seller, if you're selling in a normal market, your value is still very, very strong. This is the last 3 years of residential sales. And what's good to see about this graph that I like is the red line is us this year, and that's just been a steady incline, and that's been good. But if you look at 2019, look at the fall off. So we went to a height in May, which is sort of super spring market, and then it started to come rapidly down. The next 30 to 60 days will be very important to tell us what we're going to see, because if you're noticing and you follow Zillow or something, not every property jumps off the market. There are some things that are a little more unique that get multiple offers. There are unique condos that are just have a certain type of buyer. And then there are the higher end homes that in some cases will go quickly. But you have to remember when you start getting over a certain level, you're going to have a more discerning buyer. So pricing is still very important. And let me be clear, what we've done a lot this year is we will go forward with a seller on an aggressive price as long as we have a plan to say, hey, the market's not responding here. We need to bring it down a little. So, but for the most part, if you price it right, you're going to have a good experience. But I think what you really want to remember is this is going to cool off, and that is good, because when we're getting more to market, major thing that's happened is just we do have more people looking, so the days on market has gone down a lot. But when you have this much more starting to trickle out versus past, a lot of people have left the market. They've signed a lease. They got frustrated as a buyer. They're stepping out of the market. The prices got too high for them to be able to afford. So some of this is taking buyers out of the market. And so this is what you need to know. Our market is showing signs of normalizing. That's exciting, because I feel like a normal market is the best way to sustain ourselves instead of just skyrocketing up all the time. It's cooling off, but it's still strong. There are plenty of buyers. There's no reason to be worried, because it's actually good news. I would be worried if I was still telling you that it was like February. We need to see some level playing field here. And as I alluded to before, pricing your home is still very important. It's probably the most important thing. Be in the realm of reality. That's the best I can say. It's fine to be aggressive, but don't be so aggressive that you sit way, way too long. And keep in mind, every property is different. Sometimes you're priced right. It just might take a little bit more time based on where your property is and what it is. And as I am doing, we're actually starting to see some things benefit from our buyer inventory. And I want you to take the time to check it out on our website, 5mrealty.com. We basically have these buyers, and now we can basically put them on the map and say, hey, they're looking in your area. And if you're thinking of selling, give us a call. The other thing that's benefiting is actually our buyers are contacting us, and we're able to place them with properties. Sometimes the normal way, but a lot of times it's beating on the door, so to speak. So thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Y'all have a great week. Thank you again, and we'll be here to answer any questions you have. Have a great summer as it is really heating up, and enjoy July.